Winter. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Please and thank you. Please welcome all. Welcome anybody that's in, young and old, been here, haven't been here before. I appreciate you showing up. I do, I do, I do. So I want to ask everybody a question. How much does racism actually cost you? I'm not asking whether it's right or wrong. I think most people already know where they stand on that particular topic. What I want to know is what's the bill that you have to pay for being a racist person? Because over the past few weeks, I've watched three completely different people lose things they spent years building. And every one of these stories started with the same mistake. They thought there wasn't going to be a price to pay. They didn't think there was going to be accountability for the things that they did and they said. Look at Ashley Gonzalez. Y'all remember Ashley Gonzalez, right? Ashley Gonzalez. She had a career in law enforcement, then racist comments became public. She lost her job, and now prosecutors are reviewing her cases that she worked on because they have to determine whether bias affected those investigations. Think about how big that is. We're not just talking about one person losing a paycheck anymore. We're talking about criminal cases, taxpayer money, public trust. Then you have Stephanie Lovings. Take you off the screen. Stephanie Lovings. This young lady right here. She spent years building a career in real estate. Years. One racist act became public. And now that's what she's known for. Years of work. And now when people hear her name, they don't think about houses. They think about the history. They think about the story. Then there's, of course, the most famous of I think maybe all three, but I'm not sure, is Chud the Barber, the Builder. I keep saying Barber. Chud the Builder. He built an audience by provoking people with racial confrontation. That's not free speech, people. It's just not free speech, okay? That's how he got attention. That's how he built his brand. Today, instead of taking pictures, going out and taking videotapes, instead of having views and subscribers, he's facing serious criminal charges after a confrontation turned violent. Three people, three different lives, three different careers, but they all learned the same lesson. They paid the bill. They had to come with the accountability. And that's what got me to thinking. I don't think we've been having the right conversation about racism. Every time it comes up, people argue about whether it exists or it doesn't. Who gets offended, who doesn't. Who's playing the race card or whether somebody meant what they said. Meanwhile, nobody stops to ask what all of this has actually cost us in this country. Not just Ashley, not just Stephanie, and not just Chud. Us, all of us. Because the more I started looking into it, the more I realized these three stories are just the beginning. Racism has cost people their jobs, their reputations, their freedom. It cost taxpayers millions of dollars. It's damaged trust in our institutions. And I would argue it's even cost this country opportunities we may never get back. I don't think that's an exaggeration. And I think it's history. So today I don't want to have another argument about whether racism is real. We know it's real. I want to do something different. I want to look at the receipt. I want to look at what it has actually cost the people involved in their racial hatred, what it cost this country, and why I think we're all paying a bill that's been building for generations. Because when you really start adding everything up, one thing becomes very, very clear. Racism is not a free endeavor. Somebody always pays that bill. Somebody does. Now, let me tell you why I started thinking about that. When I first saw Ashley Gonzalez, my first thought was, that's very racist. That wasn't the biggest part. The biggest part was, how much did this cost this girl? How much did it cost her? What is it going to cost her to do this? to say this. Then the Stephanie Lovings story came along. Stephanie Lovings. Okay. Then she came along. Same thing. Different person, different job, different state. But another life turned upside down because of racism. Then Chud the Builder. Now I'm sitting here thinking, wait a minute. These ain't isolated stories anymore, right? These are examples of something bigger. A bigger movement in this country. See, I think a lot of people look at racism like it's just another opinion. They think it's something you say around certain people, something you joke about, something you keep in private conversations, and then you go on with your life like nothing ever happened. But that's not how life works. Every decision we make says something about our character. It tells people whether they can trust us, whether they want to work with us, whether they want to hire us, whether they want to do business with us, whether they want us representing their company, their community, or their organization. That's why racism is different. I don't stay in one conversation. I think it follows you everywhere you go. It follows you at work. It follows you in the courtroom. It follows you into interviews, the internet. And once it gets there, you don't get to decide how people see you anymore. Once you show your racism, you don't get to decide how people see you anymore. They do. I think that's the part people underestimate. They think consequences only happen to criminals. No, consequences happen to everybody. If I'm rude to enough people, eventually somebody ain't gonna want to work with me. If I lie enough, eventually people will stop to believe me. If I cheat people long enough, eventually my reputation will catch up to me. Racism works the same way. The difference is that people convince themselves it's harmless because they surround themselves with other people who think the same way. That's one of the biggest traps you can fall into. When everybody around you agrees with what you say, you start believing the whole world agrees with you. Then one day you leave that room. You leave that group chat. You leave that Facebook page. You leave that circle of friends. And you find out the rest of the world sees you very differently. That's exactly what happened in these stories. None of these people woke up that morning expecting to become national news. None of them thought their names would be all over the internet. None of them thought strangers would be talking about them, saying crazy and wild things about them. But once their actions became public, they lost control of the story. And that's another lesson people need to learn. You don't get to decide how history remembers you. You decide what you do. Everybody else decides what you did meant. Ashley Gonzalez didn't get to decide what people thought after those comments came out. Stephanie didn't get to decide how people viewed her after that incident became public. Chud the Builder didn't get to decide how people interpreted a brand built around provoking racial confrontation after it escalated. Once it was out there, once everybody knew that you were a racist, it belonged to everybody. And that's why I say racism ain't just about the person standing in front of you. It eventually comes back to the person carrying it. Now, let me show you what I mean, because I don't think there's a better example of that than Ashley Gonzalez. Let's start with her. Okay. Let's start with Ashley Gonzalez. Let me take this off. Hold on. Yeah. Let's start with her. Because I think her story tells you everything you need to know about why racism ain't free. Ashley wasn't some random person on social media trying to get attention. She was a police officer. She wore a badge. She had authority. Every time she put that uniform on, people were supposed to believe one thing, that she was going to enforce the law fairly, no matter who you were. That's the job. When a police officer walks up to your car, you shouldn't have to wonder whether their race is going to affect how they treat you. When they write a report, you shouldn't have to worry whether they're telling the truth about it. When they testify in court, the jury shouldn't have to wonder whether personal bias found its way into an investigation. That's why this story is very different. This wasn't just somebody saying something offensive, and what she said was very much offensive. This was somebody in a position of public trust whose own words made people question whether they could trust her to do her job. And once those comments became public, everything changed. She lost her job. Now, for most people, that's where the story ends. Somebody says something racist, they get fired, case closed. But that's not what happened here. The Harris County District Attorney's Office in Texas started reviewing cases that Ashley had worked on because they had to answer a question that should never have been asked of a police officer. Did racial bias affect any of your investigation? Her investigations. Think about that. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe button, please. I appreciate it. Now, we're not just talking about Ashley anymore. We're talking about every victim who trusted the system. We're talking about every defendant who now has questions about whether they were treated fairly by her. We're talking about prosecutors pulling files, defense attorneys looking at old cases, investigators spending time going through evidence, and taxpayers paying for all of it. Reports indicate that at least 25 cases raised enough concerns that she was on to be flagged for review. 25 cases. One person's racist actions reached into 25 different criminal cases. That's how expensive racism can become. And here's the part that really struck with me. Ashley probably thought those comments that she made were private. They were going to stay private. She never thought they were going to come out into the public, that people was going to find out that she was a racist piece of shit. Ashley thought those were comments that were between her and a friend or a co-worker or whatever. She probably thought they would stay between the people who heard them. She probably never imagined she'd lose her career over those racist comments. But that's the thing about character. You can hide it for a little while. You can't hide it forever. Eventually, somebody sees your character. Eventually, somebody hears your character. Eventually, somebody decides they're not going to keep your secret anymore. That's exactly what happened here. One person spoke up, and suddenly Ashley wasn't just answering for what she said. She was answering for every case she touched while wearing that badge. That's a heavy price to pay, and it should make every one of us think about something. If you're a person where, or you're in a position where people are trusting you with their freedom, their safety, their children, or their future, your personal character matters. It matters whether you're racist and you're a cop. It matters whether you're racist and you're a governor or a congressman, a person in authority. It matters whether you're racist. People like to say, I guess, what I do off the clock is my business. Not always. Not when your job depends on the public trusting your judgment. Not when your decisions affect other people's lives. Ashley didn't just lose her paycheck. She lost credibility. She lost respect. And once credibility and respect is gone, it's one of the hardest things in the world to get back. Now, you may agree with what happened to her. You may think she deserved it. You may think the punishment was too harsh. That's not really my point. My point is much simpler than that. She thought there wouldn't be a price to pay, no accountability for it. She found out there was accountability for it. Now, let me show you another story, because Ashley ain't the only person who learned that lesson. Stephanie Lovins found out the same thing, but in a completely different way. Now let's talk about her. I think her story is actually one that a lot of people can relate to because she wasn't a police officer. She didn't have a badge. She wasn't making decisions that affected criminal cases. She was in real estate. Her business depended on people trusting her enough to let her help them buy a house or sell a house, one of the biggest investments they ever made. That's a relationship business. People don't buy houses from somebody they don't trust. They buy houses from somebody they feel comfortable with. So when the receipt became public, everything changed. All of a sudden, she wasn't just Stephanie the realtor. She became Stephanie from that story. She became Stephanie who wrote racist stuff on a receipt in a Hispanic business. Think about how fast that happened. Years building a career, friendships, relationships, client lists, then one decision, one act of racial hatred changes how the entire country sees you. That's the part I keep coming back to. People spend years building a reputation and only a few minutes destroying it because of racism. And once it's out there, you don't get to hit the reset button. It's over. The internet don't work like that. You can apologize, explain yourself. You can say you didn't mean it. You can say that's not who you are. But once millions of people have seen it, your reputation no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the public. Now, I know some people are going to hear this and say, well, people deserve a second chance. Maybe they do. I believe people can change, but change doesn't erase the consequences of your actions. If I destroy somebody's trust in me today, I can't get mad because they don't want to trust me tomorrow or next year. Trust has to be earned, and once it's broken, it takes a long time for it to come back and be rebuilt. That's true in marriage. It's true in friendships. Business is true here. Because think about it. If you're looking for a real estate agent and you have 10 qualified people to choose from, are you going to pick the one whose name is attached to a national controversy, like writing a racist rant on a check stub to a Hispanic worker? Most people wouldn't. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I appreciate it. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Everybody knows how YouTube works. We need a thumbs up, a like, a comment, something. Please and thank you. Most people wouldn't pick her. Not because the government told them not to, not because the law says they can't, because trust matters. That's how the market works. People choose who they want to do business with. And that's why I keep saying racism is expensive. Somebody has to punish you. You did it to yourself. Life does it to you. People simply stop calling you. The clients disappear. The opportunities dry up. The phone gets quiet. And here's what really hit me about Stephanie Loving's story. I don't think she expected that receipt to become national news. The receipt that she wrote on. She said, somebody ought to call ICE on you, or maybe I should call ICE. Hope somebody calls ICE. She wrote something about ICE on a receipt in a Mexican restaurant. I don't think she woke up that morning thinking by tonight my career would be over and different. But that's exactly what happened. One moment, one decision, one bad racial act. And now that's attached to her name forever. That's a heavy price to pay. But as expensive as Ashley's story was, and as expensive as Stephanie's story was, Chud the Builder's story was the most expensive of all. Because this one didn't just cost somebody a career. It may end up costing him his freedom. Let's talk about Chud the Builder. I call him the barber. I know that's wild. His story is different from Ashley's and Stephanie's. Ashley's story started with racist comments becoming public. Stephanie's story started with one racist act on a receipt that went viral. Chud's story is different because racism wasn't something that accidentally became public. It became his brand. He built an audience around provoking Black people. He walked into places looking for confrontation. He knew exactly what kind of reaction he was trying to get because outrage was the content. Every argument, every confrontation, every racial insult was another video, another live stream, another opportunity to get attention. Now, I'm not saying he expected this to happen, that he would end up in jail. What I'm saying is if you spend enough time trying to provoke people, eventually you're going to provoke the wrong person. That's just common sense. According to investigators, that's exactly what happened. Authorities allege that during a confrontation outside a courthouse, just take that in. Y'all let that sink in. He was in front of a court of law. He was in front of the courthouse, the court of law. He kept escalating a situation until the other man pulled or was finna fight him, and Chud pulled out a gun. Before there had even been any kind of physical contact between Chud and that man, Chud pulled out a gun and shot the man. And now Chud is facing attempted murder charges because he has a whole bunch of content that says he was willing to kill another human being. Now, let me stop right there because I want to be fair. The courts are going to decide exactly what happened that day. The courts are going to decide guilt or innocence. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is this: his life changed that day. He allowed racism to put him where he is today. His life has been permanently altered because of his hatred. Think about everything that's different for him now. Instead of worrying about his next live stream, he's worrying about his next court date. Instead of planning his next video, he's talking to lawyers. Instead of building his audience, he's trying to defend himself against criminal charges. That's wild. That's a pretty expensive racist bill. And here's what really stood out to me. Chud didn't just make racist comments. He made confrontation his business model. He made conflict his content. He made anger his product. And the problem with selling anger is that eventually somebody is going to buy it. That's why I think this story is bigger than one person. Today we live in a world where outrage makes money. The louder you are, the more offensive, more attention, the more followers you get, the more money you make. That's a dangerous cycle because eventually you have to keep raising the stakes. Yesterday's outrage ain't enough. Today's confrontation has to be bigger, more content, more outrageous. Today has to be bigger than yesterday. Before long, you're not controlling that outrage anymore. The outrage is controlling you. And I think that's what people should take away from this story right here. You can build a career around division. You can build an audience around hate. You can even make money doing it, but don't confuse making money with winning. Because eventually life asks you a simple question. Was it worth it? Him going to jail. Is he sitting in that jail cell right now thinking, yeah, man, I got that dude. I shot that dude. Was it worth it? Now you may be doing time. 5, 10, 15 years. You might be doing time all because you couldn't control your hatred. You couldn't control the things that you said, the things that you did online. You couldn't control yourself. Low impulse control, as people say. Was every click worth the consequences? Was everything that Ashley Gonzalez said worth getting fired, losing her career, maybe even going to jail? Because if they find out she falsified any kind of records against another person, against a black person, she did anything that was illegal, she can go to jail. You see how far those consequences can go because of your racist hatred? Stephanie Loving wrote on a receipt in a Mexican restaurant, I hope ICE gets you, or I hope ICE does something, or somebody should call ICE. But from where I'm sitting, looking at Ashley, Stephanie, and Chud, I see 3 people who all believed they were in control of their lives. Then reality reminded them that they weren't. And as different as their stories are, they all point to the same thing. Racism don't just hurt the people that it's aimed at. It hurts the person that has the racism in their heart too. Sometimes it comes back and changes the life of the person that's carrying it. Now, here's where I think the conversation gets really interesting, right? Because as expensive as those 3 stories are, I don't think they're the biggest cost of racism. I think the biggest bill has been paid by the rest of us. The biggest bill has been paid by America. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe button, please, and thank you. Everybody knows how YouTube works. Hit the like button or the hate button or whatever button, please and thank you. Share the stream. Ashley paid the price, Stephanie paid the price, Chud paid the price, but I don't think they paid the biggest bill. I think we all did. See, when people hear the word racism, they usually think about one person doing something to another person. That's where the conversation stops. Mine doesn't. I start asking, okay, what happened after that? Because racism don't just affect one person. It changes the decisions a country makes. It changes what people are willing to support. It changes who people are willing to help. And sometimes it changes what an entire nation is willing to invest in. Think about it. How many times have you heard somebody say, we can't afford universal health care. All those people want free shit. Y'all just want free shit. Y'all just want free lunches. Y'all just want free health care. Y'all just want free money. Y'all just want welfare. Y'all just want food stamp. How many times you hear that? I heard it all my life. So have you. But then I started reading the history behind some of these debates, behind some of these free shit debates. And I realized something. Money wasn't always the biggest obstacle, because people keep saying that. Race was. White people's racial hatred towards black people and Hispanic people. That was behind the no to universal health care, the no to free lunches, the no to free colleges. Race. White people's hatred of black people, afraid that black people or afraid of Hispanic people would get the same benefits as them. So they always turn around and say, and they do it today. They turn around, oh, y'all just want free shit. For decades, politicians understood something very simple. If you could convince enough white Americans that black Americans were going to benefit from a government program, support for that program became much harder to get. And the same thing happens today. There's people in the comment section that will say straight out, y'all just want free shit. Think about how backwards that is. Instead of asking, will this help my family? The question becomes, who else is going to get it? If they get it, I don't want them to get it. I want it, but I don't want them to get it. So I'm going to say no to getting free health care because I don't want them to get it. If they get it with me, I don't want it. They just want free shit. That's a lot of y'all think that way. A lot of y'all think that way. I know we need to have free college in this country so we can get more educated people. But if they get it for free, I don't want them to get it for free. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no to free school lunch because I don't want them black people to get it. I don't want them Hispanic people to get free healthcare. So I'm gonna say no to me, even though you know your motherfucking ass need it. Some of y'all need to think long and hard when y'all come in the comment section talking about that everybody wants free shit. Why you think people want free shit? There are historians who've written entire books about this. They argue that racial division has been used over and over again to weaken support for a broader social program. Instead of building policies that lifted everybody up, politicians often found it easier to divide people by race. Let me make this clear. Let's say somebody came into your neighborhood and said, we're going to build a brand new hospital. Everybody in this community can get that hospital, can use that hospital. Most people would probably say that sounds good. But what if somebody else came along and said, yeah, but those black people gonna use it. Now all of a sudden, people don't want the hospital anymore. Nobody gets it. Nobody gets the hospital because somebody whispered in your ear, oh, them black people gonna get it. Them black people gonna use it. So we can't give them no free shit. Everybody loses. This is where we are in this country right now with universal health care, free college, raising the minimum wage, free and fair taxation. This is where we at right now. A lot of y'all say that in the back of y'all mind. I don't want to pay for them other people. I don't want to pay for them black people to get no free health care. I don't want to pay for them black people to get no free food stand or no free school. I don't want them black people to get free stuff. A lot of y'all got that back here. That's racist. That's racism. We can't get it because the black family can't get it. We don't want the black family to get it, so we can't get it. So can't nobody get it. Oh shit, you ain't gonna get it. I ain't gonna get it. The kids don't have it, seniors don't have it. Everybody walked away with nothing because somebody convinced them that stopping the black folks from getting it, from getting help, was more important than helping their fucking self. And instead of helping yourself, you worried about whether I get free shit. That's wild to me. Look around. We're still having these same fucking arguments that we were having when I was a kid. Healthcare, education, school, housing, childcare. No, y'all just want free shit. Y'all black people just want free shit. Programs that help working families somehow become political because somebody figures out how to make race a part of the conversation. Working people keep struggling. Healthcare keeps getting expensive. College expensive. Housing expensive. Childcare expensive. People at the top keep doing just fine. But us down here, I don't want them people to have it. I know I need it. I know in Kentucky, we need health care. But if I say yeah to health care like those Democrats won't, then all them black people gonna get it too. That's why I said earlier that I think we've been asking the wrong question. The question ain't whether racism exists. Racism exists. You people who think like that, I can't get it. I can't give it to the black people. So it'll be free for them. They just want handout. That's racism right there. A lot of y'all don't even understand that's racist right there. You will cut off your nose to spite my face. To spite your face. How much has racism cost us in this country? It costs us health care. It costs us child care. It costs us free college. It costs us free lunches. It costs us a lot. Because when I look at this country, I don't see just people who lost jobs. I just don't see people who lost reputation. I see opportunities we never took, we never got, programs we never built, problems we never solved. And I can't help but wonder, what would America look like today if we had spent the last 50 years bringing people together as a cohesive American country instead of convincing them to fear black people, to fear Mexican people, to fear Hispanic people, fear immigrant? What if we all came from a position of abundance? No, we gonna straighten our country out. All of us gonna straighten our country out. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, we gonna straighten our country out. How we straighten our country out? We got to get our people more educated. So that means give people free college, free public college, not Harvard, not Yale, not them. We talking about Georgia State, New York State, free college. Let's give free college so people can get educated. Let's make sure people have free lunches so they won't be starving while they're trying to take tests. Let's make sure everybody got free health care so we don't have to worry about the disease right when we can do prevention instead of after the shit happened, after the shit hits the fan. That's a question worth thinking about, because I don't think Ashley and Stephanie and Chud are the whole story. I think they're just the last chapter in America, and we've been paying this price for a long time. Now, already I know what some people are thinking, what people are saying, goofy, you got goofy shit going on, right? So are you saying racism is the only reason America doesn't have universal health care? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't tell the history of this country honestly without talking about the role race has played in the decisions and the things that we have to help all of us. And I think that's where you get into trouble. People hear something like this and get immediately defensive. I know for a fact a lot of y'all think that way. A lot of y'all think that's all people want is free shit. I know a lot of y'all think that way. And that's the problem with this country. That's the problem right there. Instead of saying we're all going to get free health care, you guys are worried about the black people getting free health care, the Hispanics getting free health care, the immigrants getting free health care. Instead of just saying everybody can have free health care and everybody know and it won't cost us nothing to get free health care, all of us, y'all worried about the immigrants getting health care. Because I hear a lot of y'all say that. Oh, them Democrats only care about giving them immigrants health care. Shut your dumb ass up. Ain't nobody went in no room and said nothing about no immigrants having no health care. Democrats want everybody to have free health care. Okay? Democrats want everybody to have free health care, specifically Americans. But everybody gets defensive when they hear it. Instead of asking, is there any truth to this, what I'm saying? They start arguing before the conversation even begins. But history is history, okay? We don't have to like it. We don't have to agree with it. But we do have to be honest about it. Because if we're not honest about how we got here, how are we ever going to figure out where we're supposed to go? I don't know about nobody else, but I don't want to be in no fucking war. But I heard what the president said. The president said we can't afford no health care, no child care. We can't afford nothing because we got a war going. I don't want to fucking be in a war. I didn't want to give no rich people no fucking taxes. No, take that tax money back. Take those tax cuts back from the rich motherfuckers and give us universal health care. Take them tax cuts, rescind those tax cuts, and give us universal health care. Everybody in this country. And we make it good. We make the universal health care standard. Every industrialized nation in this world probably has health care, and we the only ones that don't. Why? Partially because of racism. That's why I wanted to make this video, not to shame anybody, not to tell white people they should feel guilty, not to tell black people they're helpless or victim. That's not what this is about. This is about recognizing that racism has never been free. Somebody always pays for it. It's the person being discriminated against, the person doing the discriminating. Sometimes it's taxpayer, sometimes it's the whole community, and sometimes it's a country. Sometimes it's the whole country, like right now, that spends decades fighting over things it could have solved a long time ago. When I look at Ashley Gonzalez, I don't see somebody who won. I see somebody who lost a career, lost respect. When I look at Stephanie Lovings, I don't see somebody who won. I see somebody who probably spent years trying to rebuild a reputation, who will spend years trying to build a reputation that was destroyed. All because she couldn't control herself or couldn't control her racism. I think it's a mental thing, but that's just me. When I look at Chud the Builder, I don't see somebody who won. I see somebody whose life has been completely destroyed because he built his identity around provoking people. And this man is still in his 20s. Still in his 20s. So when people tell me racism doesn't matter, yes, the fuck it does. I don't know how you can look at those three stories and come to that conclusion. It mattered to Stephanie. It mattered to Ashley. It mattered to Chud. And if you step back and look at American history, I think it mattered to all of us too, because every time we let race become more important than solving our problems, we delayed solving those fucking problems. Every time politicians convince people to fear each other instead of work together like we got right now, oh, them immigrants taking y'all jobs. Them immigrants you can't get nothing because they're immigrants. No, we wasn't getting shit before the immigrants. We wasn't getting shit before the immigrants. It ain't the immigrants that's doing nothing. It's our country. It's the people in charge. It's the parties that are in charge that won't make sure that we have what we need as a country. Somebody benefited from giving us the division between the races. Donald Trump benefited. That's for sure. He definitely benefited from stoking violence, from stoking racism. Donald Trump did that. Somebody benefited, and it wasn't the average American family. The average American family was still trying to pay the mortgage, buy groceries, pay college, turn the lights on, Those problems didn't stop because we argued about race. If anything, they got worse. That's why I think racism has been one of the most expensive distractions in this country and that we have ever had. Not because it only hurt black people, not because it only hurt white people, because it kept all of us from having the conversation we should have been having all a long time ago. Instead of asking how do we make life better for working families, we kept asking who deserves it. And a lot of y'all still think that way. Y'all just want free shit. Think about the phrase when you say it. That's what that is from. That is where that whole thing came from. We didn't want to give us universal health care. Us white people didn't want to pass universal health care because black people would have got it. So we never wanted to pass it. They never had any legitimate reason to not pass Obamacare. They had no legitimate reason not to. And deep down in places that you don't want to talk about, it was because they didn't want black people to have free shit. Instead of asking how do we build the strongest country possible, we kept asking who should be left out of the strongest country possible. Those are two completely different conversations. One builds a country and the other one keeps tearing the country down. And after looking at Ashley and Stephanie and Chud, and then looking back at our own history, our own country, I think one thing is pretty clear. The bill is coming due. The bill of racism is starting to come due. The only question is, how much longer are we going to keep paying it? Here's the part that bothers me too. When I look back at the American history, I keep asking myself one question. Who actually benefited from all this? Because it wasn't the average American black family. It wasn't the average white family. The average white family was working, trying to pay bills, raise kids, put food on the table. The average black family was doing the exact same thing. Both groups wanted decent schools, good jobs, good neighborhoods, healthcare. Both groups wanted the chance to build a better life here. So why did we spend so much time fighting each other? Because somebody made sure that we did. See, racism has always been one of the easiest ways to divide people, working people, poor people. If I can convince you the biggest threat to your family is the family living down the street that's black and brown and Hispanic, then I've already won. Because while looking across the street, you're not looking up. You're not asking why healthcare costs so much, why housing is too expensive, why college costs you too much, why people have to work full-time jobs and still can't get ahead. You're not asking those questions. You just got your nose to the grindstone. The political parties change. The strategy stays the same. Keep people divided. Keep them blaming each other. Keep them distracted. Because people who are fighting each other usually aren't paying attention to who's making the decisions. That's why I said earlier that I think the biggest bill wasn't paid by Ashley, Stephanie, or Chud. Those are personal stories. I'm talking about a country that spent generations arguing over race, while other countries were building systems that made life easier for their people. I'm talking about opportunities we never even gave ourselves a chance to have because we were so locked up, lock and step with races. Donald Trump introduced that to our country right after Barack Obama. Donald Trump introduced power to that racial dynamic. Nobody did that but Donald Trump. Nobody. And we still paying the price for it. These three stories matter. But racism can destroy a country. Racism can destroy the very fabric of the Americas. Okay. Division has a cost. And when division becomes a business model or a political strategy, the people paying the bill are usually the same people who were told they were being protected. I don't know about y'all, but I think we paid enough. I think we paid enough in this country. I think we need to take it back. We need to get the things we need in order for our country to move forward and for our people to move forward. Okay. And I think people are starting to wake up to this whole dynamic. Okay. So if you guys liked my content, you like the story of Chud the Builder and Stephanie and Ashley, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you sometime this weekend. It won't be tomorrow morning. I don't know, but it'll be sometime this morning, sometime this weekend. And I appreciate all of y'all showing up. Let me read the comments and let me read something in the set. Let me read some stuff in the chat. Okay. What do we have here? Did my content resonate with anybody? Did anybody see what I was talking about? Okay, he's Democratic police officer. Okay, Ashley Gonzalez, she spoke truth. Too much ghetto, and this is why most of y'all should be ashamed of yourself. No, and racism will be here until the end of time. Yes, it will. Yes, it's a story that's not right. It's made up by racist people. He cheated on me when right. He looks very 80ish. We used to roller skate together and hold hands. Okay, okay. Well, Chud the Builder is going to do some time. These are sad men. Rage baiting. Yes. Chud the Builder is going to do some time. Has nothing to do with what is it called? Freedom of speech. Has nothing to do with Chud the Builder pulled out a gun before the man even touched him and shot the man. It is what it is. You're filled with racial hatred. Look inward. Yes, this is the problem. When someone speaks about race, that doesn't mean they're racist. Speaking about race doesn't mean you're racist. Please know the difference, because a lot of you get in my chat talking about I'm racist because I talk about race. Grow up. That's all I'm saying. Grow up. Talking about race doesn't mean I'm racist. I'm the only person being racist. That's wild. This is why I cannot engage with immature people. Military used to be majority racially divided. Well, I'm happy it's not. College pretty much is free nowadays. Yes, so not all the way free. A lot of people don't feel like they can go. College is a scam and the digital economy is bullshit. I guess if you say that, okay. Blacks didn't build shit. Who said anything about building anything? Who cares? Who cares? Democrats voted for fags to get married and give them a month. I guess we voted for those people to give them a month. However that works. MAGA, what the fuck have you gained? MAGA hasn't gained anything. MAGA can see the writing on the wall. MAGA is in a cult, and MAGA needs to drag themselves out of the cult. This president drug us into the ground. This president drug us to the brink of this racial divide that we have. This president has drug us to a lot of places that we didn't need to go as a country. Okay. Illegal means against the law. Of course, illegal means against the law. Educate yourself. I think I'm pretty much educated, my friend. You need to educate yourself because you don't speak in complete sentences, and I don't understand what you're talking about. Chud sounds like something that gets stuck at the bottom of your you're wild. Truth. Southern Poverty Law Center, which is Democratic, is under investigation. I get all of that. So what? Why light skin and dark skin still battling about who more black is beyond me? That's the way it is. Just is the way it is. You're wrong, Justin. Okay, what do you mean I'm wrong? Okay. Obama introduced racism. No, Obama didn't introduce racism. Obama just was black. And you all put whatever interpretation that you wanted to onto his back. You all put your interpretation on his back. He didn't introduce racism. Racism was in the room when he walked into the room. You all put your racism onto him. D for dynamic. Always fucking complaining. Yeah, everybody's always complaining. Everybody's complaining. Haven't you heard? The country is going to shit in a handbasket. Everybody's complaining. Goofy. You are racist though. Sure I am. I'm completely and utterly racist. That's goofy as hell. And please talk to somebody goofy as well. Okay. College is only a scam to people. Okay. Idiots come in every color. Yes, they do. Yes, the fuck they do. You got debt and no job. Everybody got debt. Not necessarily no job, but everybody got a debt. But it is what it is. You know, that's right. Just running. Yeah, I'm not smart. I'm just running my mouth. Of course, absolutely. What did I say that was just running my mouth? And what did I say that was just dumb? Nothing, because you can't explain it. You're just talking. You're just running your mouth. But please hit the like, share, and subscribe. I will see you sometime this weekend. I appreciate all of you showing up. And I will see you in the next video. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate you.